Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. So this is a movie I found on Tubi. I haven't really watched a ton of David Bowie movies, but I usually like him and stuff. I mean, I like him more as a musician than an actor. I mean, I think he does good in both. But whenever I find a movie he's been in, it's always something that's like kind of weird. So I know I'm in for a fun treat. But yeah, this definitely felt like a movie I'd find on Tubi, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just find a lot of more like obscure, kind of weirder movies on Tubi compared to a lot of the more like mainstream streaming services. So if anything, I get excited when I find these kind of movies. But yeah, despite the title, The Linguini Incident, it actually has nothing to do with pasta. It is, how I describe it, is like a rom-com slash screwball comedy about these two people that work at a restaurant as I think bartender and waitress. I think he's either a bartender or a waiter, I don't remember. I think bartender. And their friend, who's a fashion designer, and the three of them are trying to rob a restaurant. Well, for the waiter and waitress, I think his character is a waiter. I don't know why I'm like struggling to remember that. I just finished watching this movie like actually this morning. They're robbing the restaurant that they work at. It's not like some kind of grand heist or that they're like working together in it. Actually, the two main characters, they spend a lot of the movie arguing over which one of them gets to rob the restaurant, because they have like completely different reasons for doing it. One of them is trying to buy a ring belonging to Mrs. Houdini, and then the other one is trying to pay back money for a bet. And the descriptions and stuff made it sound like, oh, that's gonna be like a big thing in the movie of this robbery. There's actually two robberies, but they're both very short. The robberies don't even go correctly anyway, which, I mean, I know that also sounds like it could be funny, but like the robbery is actually like a very small part of the movie, pretty much. It's kind of more just focused on like the characters than anything, but I liked all the characters. I thought it was cool, and I liked that the movie begins with a instead of having like a narration, it's like the kind of thing that would be narrated. It's just like text on the screen setting up the characters. I feel like movies don't really, they do that a lot. I mean, sometimes they have it where it's like like Star Wars has a bunch of text on the screen and then the movie starts. But this one, it's like the movie starts and there's text on the screen as it's going, and it's on the different, like, as it's changing like the different scenes, it's like the different characters it's describing on the screen, which I find kind of interesting because these descriptions don't turn out to be right anyway. Like for David Bowie's character, his name is Monty. It describes him as an untrusty bartender, but he's not really that untrusty. Well, actually, I thought maybe a little bit. I wasn't sure, because not the entire movie, but like the beginning of the movie, he's trying to marry the other main character, Lucy, and I thought, wow, he's really insistent on marrying her. But it's one of those like rom-com like plot lines of like a guy trying to marry someone to get a green card, but that wasn't clear to me until a certain point in the movie when they like literally tell you that like that's the reason he's doing it. I thought it was like, oh, he's just really into her and wants to marry her. I was like, oh, okay. And it was interesting because it made his character come off as like kind of a little bit creepy, of like, why is he insisting so badly to marry this person, his coworker, that actually I don't think he's even, I think one of them is new. I think he's new, so they don't even know each other. It's like the first or second day they know each other and he keeps trying to marry her, and I thought like that's super weird. But yeah, the characters in this are really fun. There's a lot of like funny lines and stuff. I think I have some of them in here. It's actually like a pretty funny movie. I like the set design as well. The two characters the restaurant they work at is called the Dolly Club, so the design of the restaurant is themed around like Salvador Dali artwork, which is really cool. And I'll be honest, I didn't even really think too hard about that until like a certain part of the movie when they're showing a clock, and I'm like, hey, that clock that is suspiciously melty and over a branch is just like in the painting Persistence of Memory. And I only know that because it's my favorite Dolly painting. I have a poster of it on my wall. But yeah, I was like, why do they have this clock here? And then I realized and remembered the name, and I'm like, oh, right, it's called the Dolly Club. Of course they'd have something like that. But yeah, that means the design, it's like kind of surreal looking, the whole restaurant. I think it's actually my favorite thing about the movie is the restaurant location, which you're not at for the entire movie. It's usually either the restaurant or Lucy's house. But the locations well, that specific location is really cool, actually. And I like the uniforms that the characters have to wear as well, which is not the outfits they're wearing, the costumes on the poster. They have to wear these like gray kind of like outer spacey looking outfits, or they make me think of like sci-fi stuff. I think that's pretty fun, honestly. But the characters are kind of interesting. There's like, it's like the two main characters, and then there's a third character who's Lucy's friend. They all kind of have their own problems that they're going through, which I think makes it kind of interesting seeing them interact, where Lucy is an escape artist who used to be like a child prodigy escape artist or something, and now she's not really as good as it anymore and is like trying to get back into it. And then Monty is trying to get a green card because he's run into some trouble and needs to stay. I'm assuming this movie takes place in the US. I don't think they say, but I just thought so. Like the other characters like sound American. And yeah, so he's trying to, he's also going through a bet with, I think, the owners of the restaurant, actually, which you don't find out that out until later, to like marry someone and to marry one of the waitresses. So it's like he owes money and he needs the green card, so he's got his own stuff going on. And then there's a third character named Vivian, who is like Lucy's best friend. And her thing is actually just that she's a clothing designer, fashion designer, and she's trying to design a bra that is like a self-defense bra. So she goes through all of these designs throughout the movie. There's one that kind of looks like a porcupine. There's one that just has like knives coming out of it. There's a lot of kind of kooky designs with it. I don't remember if she like finally finds one that works or not at the end. They don't like really say with that aspect of her what happens with that. I mean, there's not like an epilogue or anything with this movie, but yeah, it's just it's mostly like Lucy and why am I forgetting his name, Monty, and they end up, I said it's a rom-com, they end up like falling for each other and stuff. But I really like how the three of them interact. I think they're kind of fun together. And there's some like fun side characters too. Like there's the two owners of the restaurant. They can be kind of annoying sometimes. There's this woman named Jeanette who communicates in sign language, and there's this like, I don't know if I'd call him like an interpreter, if that's the right word, this other guy that's always next to her, because they're both at like the front desk of the restaurant. And Jeanette, I think, is one of my favorite characters. She's pretty funny. She kind of just is like not really amused by anything going on in the restaurant. I think the one time she like actually seems kind of happy in the movie is there's this part when Lucy shows up in a bra, one of the bras she made, and it's like a bra that has knives come out of it, and Jeanette gets like really excited. And it's at a part when the restaurant's being robbed too, and Jeanette's like happy that the restaurant's getting, like, she doesn't really care about the restaurant getting robbed. She's more interested in like, ooh, the knife bra. But she's a pretty cool character. And there's some like funny lines with this as well. Or just like funny things with it. Like there's a part when Vivian, the characters call her Viv, which I like that as a nickname. She robs the restaurant herself and says something like, "Women be beautiful and dangerous," and then she shoots a gun to scare them and just leaves. And there's another one. It's kind of when Monty and Lucy start hanging out. She's an escape artist, so she has herself on like a noose and a straight jacket or something. I don't know why the noose had to be part of it, actually, where she almost accidentally hangs herself, and Monty comes in and sees her on the floor, and she's okay. She ends up okay. Like, she wasn't trying to hang herself. It was just like something that was part of her act, which is like stupid of her to do when she's, you know, home alone, and the way she does it in the movie. And Monty freaks out, and you think, you know, it's probably, you assume it's because he's seeing this person with the noose around their neck on the floor, but it's actually that Lucy has a pet rabbit, and the rabbit is on the floor too, and Monty says something like in a completely serious way too, of like, "Oh, whew, I thought that the rabbit was eating your head." Like, in context with it, it's like kind of funny, but the characters just have like kind of bizarre lines like that, or their reactions to things, that I think just can make the movie kind of funny sometimes. The music in this I liked as well. The piano there's a lot of piano in this. It can be kind of like very like at a fast tempo a lot of the time. It gets kind of jazzy with the music. I think it's fun. I think it fits with the movie. And then when the characters do the robbery, it's kind of funny as well, because it ends up getting messed up, and where it's like Monty and Lucy are the ones that are supposed to be robbing the restaurant, but both times it happens, it's actually their friend Vivian, and she just has a gun, and her face is like barely covered up, and she wears like a similar face, no, I think like the same face covering both times she robs the restaurant, and no one realizes that it's her except for, you know, her friends, the people that know her. Or there's this one part, like, the reason she even has a gun in the first place is that Monty carries a gun, but he has it strapped, like, taped to his chest for some reason, rather than, like, I don't know, hidden in a bag or at his house or whatever. And there's this part when he rips the gun off of his chest, and just like the way he screams in pain was really funny to me. It was like so over dramatic, but it's like, why do you have a gun strapped to you, like physically strapped to your body like that in the first place? I think the one thing that was a little hard to watch sometimes, just because I would like skip through a little bit, was that Lucy throughout the movie is trying to kind of master a specific escape artist trick, but keeps messing it up throughout the movie. So it's just these long parts where sometimes she's just in a bag and kind of squirming around in there, but then at the end she ends up getting to do the trick, and you don't really get to see her come out of it. Something else ends up happening as she's like escaping out of the bag, but it's like a nice moment and stuff, and you know, it's like a rom-com. Everyone ends up with like some kind of happy ending and stuff. I just don't really have a lot of notes with this, but I just wanted to say I watched it and it was fun, and I'd watch it again. I don't know what other David Bowie movies I'm gonna watch, because I've seen this one, and there's one where he's an alien, I think, called The Man from Earth, or the man from, what is it called? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Oh, The Man Who Fell to Earth. I actually didn't really care for that one. There's another one on Tubi called Just a Gigolo. I'm not sure if I'll watch that. I've seen Labyrinth. I know that's like the most famous one he's been in. Labyrinth is really good. I'm trying to think of one specifically where he's like one of the main characters, because there's also other movies like the Twin Peaks movie, or The Prestige, where he's like a minor character. Yeah, he's not really in a ton of things. I think in terms of ones where he's the main character, I think it is just the Linguini incident. Yeah, Just a Gigolo, The Man Who Fell to Earth. Oh, Hunker. Yeah, that's one where I think he plays a vampire, which I was really excited about because that sounded cool. But he's like, I don't think I made a video on it, but I've watched it. He's not really in the movie for very long, and I was kind of disappointed with it. So yeah, this is probably the last, unless I watch Just a Gigolo, which again, I'm not sure if I will. This might be the last one with him, unfortunately, where he plays like one of the main characters. But this one was fun. I know I like kind of spoiled it and stuff, but I still recommend this one anyway. It was pretty funny. All right, bye bye. Thanks for watching.